Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This morning I'm doing a day in the life. Well, for the whole of today I'm doing a day in the life, filming everything that I'm getting up to. This is obviously my first one here in Bristol. Obviously we're still in lockdown, so hopefully I will show you kind of a little bit of the things that I'll be getting up to, and then later today I'm going to be heading for a run as well, exploring a new part of Bristol that I've never been to before, so chances are I'm going to get very lost and I can't wait to share that with you. This morning I've already been working for about an hour and a half. I apologise for not filming. I kind of was just going to do a little bit and then start filming and then tell you what I was getting up to, and I kind of got carried away with the whole thing. So this morning I've been doing some research around a panel discussion that I'm going to be on in a couple of weeks on sustainability in the fashion industry. It's a topic that really interests me, and I find it quite interesting because obviously I come at it from a science point of view, whereas most people who come into this subject come at it from a fashion point of view, and then both sort of meet in the middle at sustainable fashion. I'm trying to kind of bring a lot of the stats to the conversation and all that stuff, so I've just been researching that this morning, sending over headshots and my bio and stuff, and as you can tell I'm very excited to have this opportunity because, well, not only is it a great opportunity in and of itself, but also in lockdown I have been kind of bored out my mind, and it's great doing research for my blog and for the other people I'm writing for, and obviously filming YouTubes and all of that kind of stuff, but it's not the same as having these sort of very in-depth discussions and doing things kind of externally. When I was pre-lockdown, pre-COVID, I was in London and I did quite a lot of panels and events and went to a lot of them as well, and it's a big part of my life that I've been missing for the last year. So it's really exciting to get back into that, and I am very keen to do a good job as well. So today, most of the day, I'm just going to be sitting at my desk, but there are a couple of other things that I need to do as well. I'm actually this morning about to go and put a whole lot of veg in the oven because it's going a little bit, not off, dry, and dry vegetables are not the one. What I tend to do when they start to turn is I just shove the whole thing in the oven, make a massive batch of roast veg, and then you can either freeze that or just stick it in your fridge and have it over the next sort of week in various different meals. So I'm gonna do that. This morning I had a decaf mocha as per usual, and also 2 pieces of sourdough. My favorite little sourdough is just the one. It is so good. 2 for £2, which is still pretty good for sourdough. And I had Marmite, cheap Marmite, and almond butter on my 2 pieces, and it was delicious. I filmed it, but I was sort of half asleep, so I didn't kind of film me, but you get the general gist. And now I'm just gonna be sitting down and doing emails and all that kind of stuff for the next hour or so, and then I'm gonna go and make my vegetables. I've come downstairs to put on some vegetables so that I can work while they're cooking, because I have a call at 11:30 and it is 10:20 now, so I want to do some work before that call. And it's so nice to be finally in a kitchen, A, that's ours, and B, that has an oven, actually 2 small ovens, rather than a Rayburn, which is what I was cooking before. And if anyone has used Rayburn, I don't know, are they purely British things? I feel like no one outside of the UK would bother with such a bad way of cooking things. No, I know some people love them, some people absolutely adore them, but I am just not a massive fan. What it is a big kind of cast iron bunch of ovens that also heat the house as well as your food. But they take like 3 hours to heat up, whereas this one here, because there are 2 small ones, they take literally like 5 minutes to preheat, which obviously saves energy, but it also saves me a huge amount of time. So yes, really enjoying cooking in our new kitchen. It is honestly the nicest thing ever. But yeah, anyway, I'm just gonna chop some veg and then put them in the oven, and that is my version of meal prep. It's not a whole meal, but it's kind of little elements of a meal that you can then stick all in, you know, whatever you're having for lunch or for dinner, and it just saves you so much time if you fancy something quick come dinner or lunch and you don't just want like PB&J sandwiches or something. Would really recommend giving this a go while you are at work. all of the veggies in, and it is looking so good. I'm honestly so excited for it to be cooked. And I have taken to listening to podcasts while I'm cooking kind of dinner or whatever. Cooking just now, I was listening to a podcast about equal access to the outdoors. Obviously, so many people watching this vlog will be super interested in the outdoors and kind of, I guess, sort of take it for granted how readily we have access to it, especially here in the UK. I mean, it's obviously not evenly accessible, but we do have a lot of green spaces around, even in cities. So what I've been doing is searching up particular topics, finding a topic that I find interesting, and then listening to a podcast that I've never heard of before, because I get quite bogged down into my favorite podcasts, which, plug, I do this every time. If you want to check out my favorite podcasts, I have a blog post on them before you ask, so go and check out that blog post. But I'm trying to move away from listening to the same podcasts every single week, and so I've been typing in a particular topic that I find interesting or a particular person that I find interesting, and then seeing what other podcasts I can find either with that person or about that topic. So today's podcast is called A Sustainable Mind Podcast, and then it is called People of Color in the Outdoor Community with Jose Gonzalez of Latino Outdoors, and it's about having equal access to the outdoors and showing people outdoor spaces, and that it's not intimidating if you've got some experience of it. And I think that's definitely something that a lot of us take for granted. I think there are a couple of UK-based organisations like Mosaic Outdoors and Kit Collective who work on this sort of stuff here in the UK as well. So it's something that I've done a little bit of research on, but not a huge amount, and I find it super interesting. So I do love podcasts. I think they're an amazing way of learning new things without having to kind of sit reading. So you can obviously do it at the same time as doing a lot of other things. But anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd share that. My kind of way of getting in a lot of information without, like I said, having to sit down, but also at the moment without having that face-to-face contact with people where I can actually talk to them about something. Actually, I find listening to people's interviews and conversations about a particular topic kind of therapeutic. It's almost like I'm partaking in that conversation, especially if I'm engaging quite a lot with it. So if you are struggling at the moment for mental stimulation, I guess, then podcasts are really the way to go, or audiobooks as well, if there's a particular book that you want to read but don't necessarily have the time to sit down and do so. Do it while you're cooking and do it while you're meal prepping. It's my favorite way of doing it. I'm going to put that on for about 45 minutes and then I'm going to come down and check it, but in the meantime I'm going to go back upstairs and do some work. The veg has just come out of the oven. It's looking so good. I put a good amount of garlic in both as well, and I'm just about to make lunch. I was going to go for a run before lunch, but ran out of time, got distracted with some quite fun work, and now I'm starving, so food time. Lunch, I'm about to put back in the toaster because it makes all the cheese melt, but it is a whole wheat pita with tomato paste, which just makes everything taste like pizza, which is definitely no bad thing, topped with Moroccan spiced veg bites, and then some tomato and also some spicy baked cheese sort of situation. So I'm going to put these back in the toaster to heat up, and then we are going to eat. So while that is in the toaster, I'm going to talk a little bit about my pre and post run food sort of routine. A lot of people ask, you know, what do you eat pre-run? And I try to time my runs so that I can do them an hour and a half or 2 hours after a main meal. But if I'm not able to do that, then I tend to snack. If I'm doing it shortly after lunch, then I won't eat necessarily like straight before the run. And then when I get back, again, I'll have something, a little snack, or if I get back just before dinner, then obviously I'll have dinner, or if I get back just before lunch, then I'll have lunch, so I won't necessarily have a snack afterwards. This afternoon, I'll get back sort of mid-afternoon, mid to late afternoon, so I'll probably have a snack around then. So this is my lunch, and then Rhian has gone for, oh my god, you are so covered in paint, I didn't even realise before. Same as, but just a lot more delish. The day has suddenly turned a little bit manic. I've been doing, I don't know when I last filmed. Did I last film at lunch? Maybe. I've had 2 calls and a couple of urgent emails. Now I've got a call with my agent. I did want to go for a run right now because the sun is shining. for the first time, second time in 2021. So quite desperate to get outside, but I've got a call with my agent now talking about goals for 2021 and things that we have in the pipeline, which hopefully will be going ahead, but you never really know with COVID and restrictions, all that kind of stuff. So fingers crossed it's a good call, but I'm going to jump on that now and then finally gonna head out for a run. Done all my calls for the day, which is very exciting. What time is it now? It's 3 o'clock and I'm gonna go on my run now. I wanted to go on my lunch break. One of the joys and perils of home working is that nothing ever goes to plan, which means you have to do things as and when you can fit them in. Obviously for a lot of people this won't be possible, so you will have to go on your lunch break if you don't want to be running in the dark. But for me at least, I can kind of shift around my day to kind of fit in what I'm doing. A lot of people on my Instagram asked for my pre-run warm-up routine, and I have done some videos in the past on my Instagram that show my ideal running warm-up routine, but I have to say I only do my ideal running warm-up routine when I want to do an ideal run. So that might be like a race or a proper workout interval session, something like that. If I'm going to be starting off super slowly and kind of easing into the run, then I tend not to do this. I sort of just warm up on the go. But if you are interested in seeing my warm-up routine, I will link it and just make a highlight of it over on my Instagram so you guys can kind of always find it. It has over 2,000 saves, so I know a lot of you guys use it pre-run, and I've had some amazing responses as well from people who have said that it's kind of reduced their injury rate and that their knees don't hurt when they run or their ankles don't hurt. And especially in winter, I do feel like when it's really cold outside, you're a little bit stiff, especially if you've been sitting down all day, and when you start running, you kind of creak a little bit. At least I do. And I'm only 25, but sometimes I feel like I'm about 80 when I set off on a run. So you're probably all thinking, Flora, you could probably fix that if you just did your own warm-up routine. And I know I could, but I am lazy and can't be bothered, essentially. But I do use Theragun when I come home after a run because I get extremely tight calves, and I find using Theragun just flushes out all of, I guess it's probably not lactic because I don't run fast enough at the moment, but I do get some quite tight muscles after runs, especially if I just stop running and don't cool down properly afterwards. So I tend to use Theragun for that, which is a godsend. Other massage guns are available. Right, anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go on my run and I'm going to bring you guys along with me. The sun has finally come out on what was supposed to be a very sunny day for the full day, but it has been cloudy all day, so I'm getting out just in time to get some sunshine. Just set off. It's absolutely freezing. It's about 2 degrees. And if you want to know about my kit, go and check out my kit vlog, because I've gone through all of my favourite kit and what I would wear sort of for different temperatures. But yeah, it's freezing. I've organised my route for what I'm going to do, but really this is a different place I haven't run before, so who knows how well it'll go. I'll probably get lost, but that's part of the fun, at least in my opinion. And I'm listening to a very good podcast about sustainability and fashion, trying to immerse myself in the subject, so I actually know what I'm on about at some point. But yeah, this run's going to be about 10 kilometers, which is my longest run since my knee went a bit funky a few weeks ago, so that will be hopefully not a problem. But if it is, I'll just turn around and come back or start walking. Hi, Peppa. Hi. I'm currently in Arnos Vale, one of our local parks. We're sort of surrounded by small but very green, quite wild parks. I feel very lucky. For any of you who are following me in Dorset days over the last year or so, probably a little bit cynical about whether or not my runs will be anywhere near as beautiful as they were down there. And you know, I personally don't think anything beats the coast, but in terms of pretty places to run, this is definitely up there. I also have this thing where if I plonk me in any city and I will find the mud, I will find the spaces where it's horrible to walk on unless you got the right gear, and go and run in them because I love it. I need the muck. Makes me happy, like a little pig. mud was no joke. I so nearly fell over about 5 times. That last kilometre took me 7 minutes and 18 seconds. But we're not here for speed, we're here for fun, and I'm having a lot of fun. This is called Nightingale Valley, and we actually looked at a house around here. It's quite far out where we were wanting to be, and it's just beautiful. Someone on my Instagram asked me what I think about when I run, and it's funny because I've never really thought about it much other than to think that like I definitely get some of my best ideas when I'm running and then inevitably forget them by the time I get back home. I think I should probably just stop and write them down, otherwise I'm just gonna forget everything, which I have thus far. Other than that, like, I tend to only have really good ideas if I'm out for 45 minutes plus. Any less than that and I just am thinking about what I've just done. But quite often if I'm listening to music, I will totally zone out. I have no idea what I've thought about. I have no idea where I've been. So like, I was trying to explore some new routes the other day and get into nature. And I got back home and I was like, I don't know where I just was. I don't know where I just run. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a form of mindfulness because, so I don't feel want to go next to people because then they think I'm really weird. But yeah, because you're like zoning out of anything except for your breathing and just being in your head. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. But anyway, that is what I think about. Absolutely nothing. Sunset. Ah, so pretty. Oh, yeah, Bristol's pretty. Ah. I'm now in something called Netton Park, which is the other side of the river to us. I've been here once before and I had no idea what it was, so happy to be back. Never run here before. Big hills, not doing them. It's beautiful. I'm just nearly 7 kilometers in and I've got a tiny, teeny tiny little niggle. And niggles are just the most annoying thing because I don't know if I should stop, I don't know if I should keep going. Anyway, I'm just keeping going and going on the grass because I know that's a lot easier on my poor little leggies. Wondering why my face is wet? Piece of shit car. Just went through the biggest puddle, which was literally frozen until it was all over me, and then it was very wet and very cold. Heading towards Temple Meads. Pretty industrial here, but quite cool. My bridge is shut. No, it's not shut, we're okay. There we go. About 2 kilometers left to get back home. Sun is setting, it's looking pretty. I'm very cold and quite damp. Ooh. I have no idea where we are. This is a very cool run. I figured out some ways to make it better, but it's like, it's so Bristol. And it's amazingly empty. Sometimes we're very busy, like the main parks are busy, but these river paths are empty, which is amazing. It's gorgeous. Kind of hilly now, but generally it's quite a flat route, which is lovely. Nice change. But yeah, look at this. Ancient walls, loads of ivy, gorgeous sunset around the corner. Woo! I finally know where we are. I am amazed at that route. Really fun, really fun. So Bristol. Anyway, in Victoria Park now. Trying to stay on the trails because my poor ankle. Listening to This American Life, a whole episode on being filled with delight. And it's just so joyful to listen to. But But yeah, big fan of this American life. Love it. I just got home from my run and sitting outside just to cool down a little bit. So pleased with that route. I don't know if I mentioned that once or twice, but yeah, really gorgeous, really beautiful at sunset as well. Over on Instagram, there have been a lot of questions around my post-run routine, and it really varies. It kind of depends on the length of the run, what else I have to do that day, how I'm feeling as well, and whether or not I'm training for something in particular. But in general, I will, if it's a longish run, I will have a snack after the run. If it's a really short run, I tend to just guzzle a whole load of water. Always have lots of water, kind of no matter the length of the run. Snack if it's a slightly longer one. If I am training really hard for something, I might have a protein shake or a protein bar or just kind of food with protein in. That's kind of my preferred means of getting in food, but protein shakes just are really easy. If I know that I'm going to have had a lot of muscle wastage from the kind of run that I've just done, for example, if it's a sprint session or interval training or whatever, I know I'm going to hurt the next day. Again, if it's a long run or a run that's particularly tired me out, or if I've got a niggle, rather than having a shower, I might have a bath, and I use bath salts. There are so many different ones out there that you can get. West Lab is the ones that I use. Just what they do is they kind of relax the whole body, and especially in winter, it's so cold that your muscles can just seize up. And I think the reason that I was having a little calf niggle around that run was because my muscles were cold. I mean, that's my own fault really. I should have warmed up in advance, but I wasn't going fast enough for them to actually get really kind of warm. So they just sort of seized up at a point during the run where they got really cold because of some wet mud. So I'm gonna have a bath rather than my usual kind of jump in a shower, get on with work, that sort of stuff. It is 5:15, so technically it's the end of the working day. I'm actually gonna do a little bit of work after this because I did spend most of the afternoon running and doing things around running rather than actually working. But I'm just gonna go and hop in the bath now. And then afterwards, if I am sore or know that I'm gonna hurt because I've done a tough run or a tough training session or workout, whatever, I will stretch a little bit and Theragun as well, just kind of lightly in front of the TV quite often, or in front of, or whilst listening to a podcast or something like that. And that is kind of my post-run routine. It really, really depends on how I'm feeling and whether I'm training for something in particular, because if I know that I've got a lot of training sessions coming up, I take a lot more care to actually properly look after my body. But if I have nothing coming up, then I'm pretty neglectful of my poor body, which is probably why I get injured. Point taken. Okay, thanks everyone. Anyway, I'm gonna go run a bath and hop in and warm up a little bit. Today's bath salt of choice, lovingly placed on our loo, is Dr. Salt's Epsom bath salts. Post-workout therapy with black pepper. This is exactly what I need. I forgot we ran out of the other ones, so this is a new pack full. I will feed back on how this is. Hopefully it's gonna save me. Bath setup is very hot bath, lots of bath salts, a Horlicks. They do vegan Horlicks now, it's very good. A nice smelly candle, and I'll be sitting in here for the next 20 minutes or so. That bath was exactly what I needed, and now I'm very sleepy. So I'm just using the Theragun in front of the TV, which I'm watching Interior Design Masters on Netflix. Not my favourite interiors programme, but really good. I kind of prefer the architecture ones, so all of George Clark's ones are really good. I mean, I feel like I was always interested in them, but now I can actually do things to a space that we own. I feel much, much, much more invested in that kind of thing. But anyway, I'm just going to use this for 15 minutes or so, because it is a godsend, and my calf was quite sore earlier. I just want to make sure that it's okay. It was absolutely fine after I just stretched it out, but it's just something that I think once you've been injured consistently, you get really nervous about any niggles that you get. And that's kind of how I feel, and I just try not to like worry myself about it, because to be honest, it's like definitely nothing. It's nothing that I would ever have worried about before I got kind of consistently injured. But I think it's easy to stress about these things when you've had that sort of problem before and it's recurring. You always think, oh my god, I'm ruining my body. But I think it's just because I haven't been running loads recently, and it's ironic that running lots makes you injured, and then running sporadically and not a lot also makes you injured. The body's just useless, but you know, hopefully my body will sort itself out. The time that I feel the best, like physically, is when I'm on a consistent training plan. So I know I'm running like 4 times a week. I have particular sessions planned. I have faster sessions, I have longer sessions, I have slower sessions, recovery sessions. Varied my running like that I think is the best thing for my body, and training 4 times a week running is quite good, but I haven't been doing it because I'm not training for anything particular, and I think it's easy to kind of feel like you're not progressing. But as I've said a billion times before, like, you don't need to progress all the time, and there is definitely a time for just being within your comfort zone. And then, I mean, I will inevitably be pushing my comfort zones this year at some point. It's just that this January is not that time. I've got plenty of other stuff on and don't want to overdo it. But yeah, I'm just going to continue Theragunning, and then I'm going to eat dinner. Tonight's dinner is a slight theme on lunch, which is pitta, of course, with a delicious meat substitute and various vegetables. What's in there? Onion, pepper, spinach, mushrooms,
tomatoes, red cabbage.
That is a lot of different vegetables, and then all of these ones as well, which is carrots, parsnip, sweet potato, onions as well. So yeah, that is dinner. Delish. And that is it for today's vlog. We've just been watching Schitt's Creek, which is like my favourite thing. It's so good. It's the second time I've watched it. Having an early night tonight, as we have been all 2021. Seriously early. I mean, it's 9:15, 9:20 at the moment, but we have both been exhausted. We both were ill at the beginning of the year, so yeah, taking it really easy. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I hope you found it interesting and insightful in some small way. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon next to it as well, so you get alerted when I have my next videos out. There'll be loads of cool content coming your way anytime soon. If you have any suggestions for content, obviously please put them down in the comments box and I will do what I can to make it happen. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!